What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, as Matic starts to find some structure, in today's video we are going to cover exactly what I am expecting to happen with the price over the next 48 hours and how I am going about it to maximize my gains in crypto no matter what direction we see this thing move. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover my bearish thesis first. Now, my bearish thesis is just the thought that more often than not, when we are in a downtrend and we go into a structure of this nature, a rising triangle, more often than not, we will bounce towards the downside. So what I'm going to do is talk about exactly my plans for if we break to the downside. And then I'm going to talk about what happens from, if we see the price from Matic break towards the upside. So first and foremost, again, we know that more often than not, rising triangles will result in a continuation towards the downside. That's just the statistical probability that says that, 60-70% of the time, they will lose this key level of support. So with that said, we need to start to prepare for that outcome. Now, in order to prepare for that outcome, it's honestly a pretty easy formula. It works just like rising wedges. Whenever you have an ascending triangle or rising triangle, what you can see is that you will have these points in which we establish support on the bottom side of that triangle. Now, what's interesting is that very, very, very often when we break this key point of support, the bottom side of your triangle, these previous touches on the bottom side here then become your breakdown targets. Those are the points in which we are the most likely to find a bounce back towards the upside. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've drawn out horizontal lines at each one of these points as my breakdown targets if the price does start to lose this bottom side here. Now these 3 points are going to be 67 cents, 62 cents, and 56 cents. Now what that says is that these are the points where we can expect some support. If we break to the downside here, we can expect to see the price either consolidate or bounce a little bit. And if we lose that level, we can expect it at the 62 cent mark. And if we lose that level, we can expect it at the 56 cent mark before eventually collapsing back down to what we could see to be towards 50 to 47 cents down at this wick low. So the way in which I'm going to play this, knowing that these are my 3 breakdown targets, is a mixture of bullish and bearish sentiment. So what I know is that although more often than not rising triangles will break to the downside, I also know that there is a strong probability for us to either establish the new higher low off one of these levels or to set an equivalent low and to put in something of a W bottom here. That is the statistical probability saying that there is a strong chance that this does happen, that we find support here. So what I'm going to do is, again, a mixture of bullish and bearish sentiment in saying that first and foremost, if we break to the downside of this rising triangle, I'm not going to do much. I'm just going to sit back and watch the first interaction at 67 cents. If at 67 cents we start to find some support here, that confirms to me that this is a point of relevance and significance, and that if we do start to hold it, it confirms that our next 2 breakdown targets will very likely be interacted with in a similar level, in a similar way. So then what I would go ahead and say is that if the price comes back down and we start to bounce back up to the upside, well, sure, that's great. I'm simply just going to wait for us to clear these 2 previous highs, and then I'm just going to go long up to about 90 cents. But again, we'll cover that towards the end of the video. But if we do start to consolidate here, I'm going to start to prepare for my bearish plan. My bearish plan is that if we lose breakdown target number 1, which is 67 cents, we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. If we lose breakdown target number 1, I'm going to then go ahead and short the market and short Matic down to 62 cents. Because more often than not, if we lose breakdown target number 1, we will resort to breakdown target number 2 almost every single time. So for that reason, I'm going to short Matic just between these 2 levels of just a few percentages of about 7%, maybe on 1.5 to 2x leverage to try to pick up 15 to 20% in gains. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go forward and say that as we do short Matic down to 62 cents, I'm going to close that position once we reach about 62 to 63 cents and then accumulate at this 62 cent level. Because since each one of these has such a strong potential to be the point in which we do find support and continue to the top side, I do want to take advantage of what very possibly could be that final level of establishment of support before we do continue back upwards. Now, I think it's less likely that we do see a strong bounce of this nature, but considering the fact that I'm bullish on Matic no matter what the short-term price charts do, I do want to continue to accumulate at some of these strong levels. So then again, I'm going to short the market down to 62 cents and then I'm going to accumulate here. And I'm going to implement the same game plan. If we see the price fall to 56 cents or fall below 62 cents, I'm going to short Matic down to 56 cents, then accumulate at this level. And then finally, if we do see 56 cents lost, I am then going to stop accumulating until we come back down towards this 50-cent level, because that is the final point in which we can expect some support based off of our wick lows over here. It's a very easy game plan. Short it from breakdown target to breakdown target and accumulate at each one of those breakdown targets. Best case scenario is you short it from breakdown target 1 to 2, you accumulate here. You short it from breakdown target 2 to 3, you accumulate here. You make gains from shorting on this. You make gains from shorting on this fall. You get a great dollar cost average down here. Then we put in some type of W bottom and continue back to the top side. You made short trade gains and accumulation gains, and you made an absolutely phenomenal move there. That's best case scenario. Best case scenario hardly ever plays out, but of course that is the game plan there. Now, if we do start to see the price break to the upside, let's talk about what if Matic just says, you know what, screw it, I'm going to just work my way back up here. Well, it's a very easy formula as well. What we can expect is that Matic will then run into some support and resistance, or some just resistance at about 75 cents. We saw 2 times in which we came up to this level and got rejected here, meaning that it's a clear point of significance. So what I would want to see from Matic is that we clear 75 cents. And if we clear 75 cents and hold it, there's a strong chance that we then come back up to retest our previous structural low here around 80 cents, but very likely even up to 90 cents. So what I would go ahead and say is that if Matic does clear 75 cents, I definitely think that that could be a strong accumulation level in which we could see gains of, from even just 75 back up to 79 is about, or 80, which is about 8.5%, and back up to 90 is 21%. So I definitely think there are gains to be made here. So what I would be looking for is us breaking 75 cents and holding it on the 4-hour closes. If we get 2 or 3 4-hour closes above that level, I am then expecting the price to start to rally back up towards the mid 80s to high 80s, and then from there, of course, this could be a fantastic time to go long. So as you can see, I don't really care where this thing goes. It's not really a big deal of, oh, it has to break to the top side or it has to break to the bottom side. No, I'm prepared for either option. I'm either going to short this thing from breakdown target to breakdown target and accumulate at each one of these support levels, or I'm going to allow it to break to the upside, clear this key point of rejection. Once we hold that key point of rejection, then I'm just going to go long, expecting to see 8 to 20% in gains. Okay, so it's a very easy formula. It's a very easy mix, and I'm going to update you guys tomorrow as this all does play out. So do make sure you do turn on notifications so you don't miss the update, because if anything dramatic or drastic happens, I do want you to be one of the first ones to know exactly what the next best move could be. Do understand I'm just a random guy on the internet, so you shouldn't be taking this as financial advice, and you shouldn't be going here and just putting all of your money into the things that I say. Please do diversify at least your research into other assets and other places where you can get information, and don't just individualize it into one crypto YouTuber or one crypto website. We don't all know everything. I don't know everything, that's definitely for sure. So please make sure you are diversifying your research up. But with that said, that's going to be about it for today's video. Of course, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you all next time. Peace.